Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Um, we are on our way and rolling to work this morning. I'm trying to get everything set up in the studio here. Let's call it that. But we are here to talk about. Good morning. We are here to. Oh, Jesus. I need to turn the defroster on. Where did the cold come from? What is that? Good morning, Miss Poke, but it's Magic Poke now, I think. But I remember that poke. Good morning. Um, it is so cold outside. I'm really happy that it is fall right now. Fall is one of my favorite seasons. Second to winter. No, no. First, then winter. I know, Daryl. You first. Whatever. Anyway. uh, good morning, Mr. Daryl Pope. I'm sorry. Um, so anyway, we're here to talk about Sunday's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Let me turn down the air. I hope that's not so loud on you guys. Um, we're talking about Sunday's episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac, serving up betrayals. The episode started off with Candice in the studio. She was remixing her wedding song to Chris. I like the snippet of the song. I haven't really gone out of my way to listen to the whole thing. Um, but I enjoyed the song and I enjoyed the remix. Actually, that beat sounded really nice. Then we get to her and Chris like go over to the side. They have a talk, and she talks about how she's like officially done with Monique. Monica had invited her to do a podcast, and she had decided to pull out. Just because her friendship with Monique at this point is it's not salvageable. It's just it's not fruitful for her. Like she goes to hang out with Monique, and Monique beats up on her the whole time, and then invites her. Well, we'll get into that later. We go from there to I believe Ashley and Michael. They're headed out to a restaurant. Ashley said when she first talked to Dean about all this stuff, she was not Dean. When she talked to Michael about all this stuff, she was very, 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 very upset. And in my opinion, Ashley needed some new words other than very, 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 very upset. She needed to, like, we needed to see, and we saw glimpses of how she can be mad, but she still had to be kind of reserved because she was in a public setting on top of a public setting. They were in front of the cameras. She's out in a restaurant. Who argues or who wants to discuss stuff in a restaurant? I guess it is so that you can like keep your cool. Cause why not argue? She didn't want to argue in front of the baby. Understood. I don't. I don't know what that would have changed. Do kids don't start remembering things until 5 years old anyway? So like, I doubt that argument between the two of them would have like destroyed Dean's. Like, I don't know. But they go to a restaurant to discuss. Um, so I am losing my train of mind all over the place. Good morning, Latanya. Uh, they're at the restaurant. They're discussing. Ashley's asking him questions, and this flashback for me to a previous scene where, Giselle and Candice were asking Ashley, do she ask, they know she asks direct questions, but does she ask indirect? Um, she She said she does. She asks all the questions, right? But my my new question for Ashley was, do you re-ask the questions? Because Michael was saying some really silly things at that table, and she was like, from from the editing, she was she was just taking it, like she was like, okay, that's your answer. And I was like, no, that deserves a re-ask, so he can realize how silly he sounds. Like, I don't know. She did I guess he said he was craving affection, and she was like, "Oh, you were craving it." My favorite part is like when she was like fixing her hair and stuff. He was saying he he said something, and I forget what it was completely. But Ashley pulled a whole head back and had to adjust herself, jumping across the table on Michael. At least in my opinion, I felt that. But he apologizes. She discloses that, in the past, her and a girl had like had a fling, I guess, and they used to do stuff all the time, and they do it without him. And he said he's never, outside of that time, he's never done something without Ashley. Which, remember when I was telling y'all last week? Sorry that video didn't get uploaded. But remember when I was telling you guys last week they came on with the swinger vibes? It's exactly what I was feeling. Like, what it sounds like Ashley is asking Michael to, that she doesn't want to do it anymore. She doesn't want to do the threesome thing. It was fun and it was cute when they were like dating, and it probably was even exciting when they got married. But now they have a baby, and I have a special connection, not to them, but to the situation where, like, a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, they were that on and popping married couple doing the thing, and I wasn't comfortable with it, but who was I to judge? Let them kiss it. Let them do their thing, whatever. On and popping, all of a sudden, she gets pregnant, right? She goes into nesting stage, something serious. She's like, okay, so that chapter of our lives is over. We're about to, it's about to be me, my husband, and my child. Let me tell you what's on the husband's mind. Like, she opened Pandora's box. And for every time they did it together, he would bring that up like it was like her doing something wrong, or there's so many issues with open relationships. Like, you've got to be strong for an open relationship. I'm not built for it. Apparently, Ashley and Michael are. Moving on. We we catch up with Chris and Monique. They're taking a walk, and it's really beautiful out. It's fall day. It's caught up to where we are in our time right now, because I think they've had to hold the show on. But they're walking with the baby, and Monique is telling Chris about not for lazy mom. I'm not about built for it either. Exactly. Like, Monique is telling Chris about not for lazy mom. She's telling him how much she spent, how much she's telling him how much she spent and where it is, and, like, for 9 months she had to, I guess, essentially be a lazy mom. She, like, okay, the pregnancy was rough, yes, right? But not for lazy moms is the idea that you can be pregnant and still running around and doing the do, right? Because she was not busy, her crowd and her audience forgot about her for those 9 months, and now she has to rebuild. Chris was giving her some really valid and great points, but Monique didn't want to hear that because it's her baby, and she got to bump her head the way she want to bump her head. He can't tell her, like, he can't guide her to the pillow if she wants to do what she wants to do, if that makes any sense. Um, like, she's having this event. She has to sell somewhere around 200 tickets, and she sold 20, right? So you sold 10% of your tickets. Chris was saying scale the party down. Makes total sense. Like, you lower the numbers, you lower the number of tickets, it makes it makes attendance look bigger than it was supposed to be. And then he was like, if it's not reaping any investment, if your investment isn't reaping any profit, it may be time to get rid of it. She wasn't hearing that. She's just like, oh, we've got to work harder. I skipped over the part where she was meeting with the team just because I didn't find that interesting. She uh she was talking about how old Karen and Ray are. Like, Karen's in her 50s. Can we chill out? Can we chill? Like, can we not act like Karen is about to turn into dust tomorrow? 'Cause I like Karen. Karen can be a little aggravating, but she looks good for where she is in life, and you don't lose the sex drive because you get older. That's like, she's like, oh, they've been married for 100 years. I want to know what that's like. Why do we want to know about old people having sex? Like, if Ray is older, if he is, but Karen is hot Ray, I think yes. She looks dang good for her age. Did you see her at the beginning of the what was it? At the beginning of the trip with the little upper half of the belly showing and the young girl tracks? Come on, like, they must see something. They must see something that we don't see. You know. So that's probably why I glazed all over that. Oh, while they're on this walk, Chris tells Monique tells Chris how Candice had pulled out of the podcast. Monique, like, hey, you fell asleep on the girl when she was leaving. Whether it was fake or real, you fell asleep on her when she was leaving. She wasn't that important to say goodbye to. So, like, you argued with her every chance you got a chance. I mean, except for the night that y'all were downstairs chilling, but y'all were drinking and stuff, and Karen gave you a, like, perfect opportunity to, like, everybody keeps giving y'all perfect opportunity to squash the beat. But the first person that speaks up is Monique. And she's so cool, calm, and collected about all of it, but she flipping. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So she's so unprofessional. If I don't like you, we're not talking professionally. Like, I don't know. But why would Candice need to be on a podcast called Not for Lazy Moms if she's not a mom? And yes, we could be talking about marriages, but I would expect that there would be some kids involved in these marriages on a podcast called Not for Lazy Moms. Just because, like, okay, the honeymoon stage is over. Once again, Monique talking about how Candice and Chris haven't gone on a honeymoon yet, and they've been married a year. I did not know it was mandatory for somebody to go on a honeymoon. I didn't even know it was mandatory for someone to have a wedding. And didn't Candice have a huge one? So I don't know. I don't know how we. I was just about to say something about how people dictate other people's lives as I'm watching the show and dictating people's lives. Anyways, but I didn't know all of that was supposed to be a thing. So, she goes in on that and then is like, oh, I gotta redo some flyers. Who's doing flyers for a podcast? Who's putting out flyers? I mean, I've worked in a lot of situations. I've seen people put out flyers for nail salons, for boutiques, but flyers for a podcast doesn't make any sense. And she's like, oh, I have to get someone to take her off the flyer. How about still post that flyer and just underneath the caption, underneath where you need to put the stuff, say addendum or whatever. We're fixing it. Candice isn't going to be there. Put a slap an emoji X on top of her. You're making it more difficult than it needs to be. Monique enjoys spending money, because $500 for flyers, that's a lot of flyers. Or, I guess, to get what's the guy or the girl, the graphic designer, okay, whatever. But, whatever. I like Monique, but I can't side with her in this episode, nor any of this season, because none of it's been making sense, and I don't know if it's because of editing, but none of it's been making sense. We cut from there and we head to Giselle. She's at a furniture store. Okay, I'm done talking about them. We cut to Giselle. She's at a furniture store and she's meeting Robin there. There were some lovely pieces of furniture in there, and then there was sometimes furniture can get so artistic looking to where it's gaudy to me. And Giselle seems to like gaudy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Gaudy can be very pretty. I think she's at baby gaudy. And when she turns that house out, officially turns that house out, oh, it's going to be like Liberace in there. It's going to be super beautiful. Nothing you want in your house, but super beautiful to visit at someone else. So her and Robin are looking around. They're looking at pieces. I did like the crystal pieces. I'm not gonna lie; those were gorgeous. But her and Robin were walking around looking at, and then Robin's like, "Hey, let's sit down, let's chit chat." So they talk about Monique at the trip and how she just seemed to spiral. Once again, Robin being reasonable, and then they talk about the allegations. So I'm guessing that that article must have dropped while they were still on the trip somehow. Because how Giselle brought it up was did anyone get it when they were at the lake house? It had come out that day. I don't know. Because when we saw them, they were all leaving, and Ashley was still excited to go talk to. She was still looking forward to going and talk to Michael and asking him the questions and such. So I don't know, but they're talking about it. Robin says she was gossiping with Sharice, and Sharice said, "Send me the article, girl," and Robin accidentally sent it to Ashley. She said she switched it up real quick. She asked, "What do you want us to do with this?" Which, weird question. Sounds all politicky, but I guess that's hey, how would you like us to handle this? Blah blah blah. I don't know. Giselle is I don't know. I think she does like Ashley, and she's just I don't want to put it all on Michael though, because he's a nasty old man. He is. He looks like he has worms, and that's mean of me to say. But it's a little on the gross side. And when people say bad things about Michael, it's not hard for me to believe them because of his track record and because he just looks like a villain. That's that. Whatever. We are, so, where am I? Oh, they're in the furniture store. They talk about that. Giselle tells Robin that she is throwing a party, a little get-together, a wine tasting, as one does, for winning her literary award. Congratulations, Giselle. I think that is a huge deal. To win an award of any kind is an achievement. I had to think about that. is an achievement. So congratulations, Giselle, on winning your literary award. So she's like, she's gonna throw a wine tasting. Karen in these confessionals are wearing me out. I haven't talked about Wendy one time this whole episode. She did have a she did have a little scene. It was her deciding that she didn't want to be a doctor anymore or a professor. Um, Good on you, Wendy. Whatever. I feel like she's making a bigger deal. I don't know. I don't know the Nigerian culture. Maybe in those cultures they do have a heavier focus on education. Um, I'm black, and my grandparents had a heavy focus on education. Neither of them, graduating any form of higher education. So I don't know. I don't know if they care as much. And I don't know. We saw how her husband's family did them just on them. So let me not speak too much on the situation. Um, oh, but yeah, we get to the wine tasting. Karen in the confessional. She's saying like she that like Giselle could have just didn't. Okay, the venue is like this barn. It's super cute. It's rustic looking. All the ladies are in their like fall vests. I did not like the Gucci hat on Giselle. I did not, but I don't like it in general. It just, like I said, gaudy. It's big and blingy for no reason. Giselle seems to like that style. But like the venue was beautiful. The table spread looked nice. But Karen's like, oh, you could have Skyped me. Girl, if we would have Skyped you, you would have missed out on all of this hot tea if you would have been upset. Okay? You would have needed to get the call on who drop kick, the 411 on who drop kick who. Is that how that phrase goes? Like, Karen, you showed up. So we're at the venue. Everybody shows up. Ashley's late. You know, everybody shows up and they're in good spirits. Giving the hugs and stuff. Hi, blah blah blah. Candice and Monique even hug and whatever. And then they start drinking. Ashley shows up somewhere, probably around like white number three. Because she they were when she shows up, they said you don't drink white anyway. We were getting to the red. She got a little glass of wine. Ashley showed up. Actually, I'm all over the place, you guys. Please forgive me. Ashley showed up very chill. Like, okay, first of all, it was freezing outside, understood, right? But she's like, I don't know if they said it's hard to conceive while you're breastfeeding, and Bambi from Love and Hip Hop proved that that was a myth. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, like, where everything falls in line, because there falls there when she thinks she's about to that she thinks she's pregnant, and now it's fall now, and she actually is pregnant. So I don't know if she actually was right about being pregnant during that scene, but she was like, "Listen, I'm feeling a little woozy." Giselle's calling her, a politician because all of all of this truth, all of these facts are out in the public about Michael, and Ashley is talking about being pregnant again, and smiling like everything's good in the hood. My question is she supposed to break down every time she comes around you guys? Like, is she supposed to hold it together for regular people that she don't know, like us? And then when she get around the girl, she's just supposed to be like, "It's so hard, you guys. Michael, love her." Is she not supposed to have some like semblance of decorum? And of course, you guys being her friends, you did well, Giselle, asking, because you're supposed to pull that. I feel like you're supposed to pull that stuff out of a friend. Like, unless they call you and they tell you they're just distraught and they cannot handle it, I think you're supposed to pull certain information out of friends. Like, that is one of those things where you were supposed to be like, hey, so are you really okay, or how's everything going? Ashley did well. She explained everything Michael told her. She said he went out. They went for him and the boys went for some drinks. They then went to a strip club. The strip club, one of the strippers, went with them somewhere else after that. And by the time they got to the hotel, he was so like drunk and tired that he just passed out. Michael was lying. Michael said, "I'm already in trouble. I don't want to add, gasoline on top of the fire I've already created." Which I think would have been better if he would have just like, because everything has come out now, right? I think Ashley is well aware. Um, I don't know where their relationship is gonna go, but like for him to be like, "Oh, we got to the hotel and I passed out," you fell asleep with all your clothes off, or you fell asleep during sex. Like, what? When we saw the pictures of you, you were in your underwear. For somebody who was so tired and so drunk, and all of the layers that Michael wears, mind you. Okay, he has on a blazer, button up. I'm sure there's a wife beater underneath there. The slacks got a belt on them. You got on socks. You got on shoes. All of that was able to come off when you were drunk, and you just fell asleep. Okay. And then we hear in the videos, they didn't post this on the show, but we hear in the videos that the girl was like, "Oh, we can't go to your house." She was talking big mad, mind you. Whatever. I'm getting worked up over people's lives that aren't mine. We're back at jumping back to the wine spot. Um, the, somewhere along a bunch of line of drinking, we get done with the Michael and Ashley talking, and or the Matt. Yes, we get done with that, and Candice proposes a toast, as Candice does. She says she loves them. Even Monique, even Monique, though she was asleep. Monique said, "What are you talking about? I'm never asleep." Monique, you've been asleep before. Remember when you fell asleep behind the wheel? You've been asleep before. Like, stop. Okay? Do you remember saying goodbye to her? That I don't know. Whatever. So, but Candace was being immature. She was like, "You was asleep though. You was asleep though." That was a regression on Candace's part. You know, this whole season. And in true Bravo fashion, they bring us the fight in split screens, black and white. Clips to this, clips to reactions, but never necessarily the fight, which I kind of enjoy in a way. I don't, you can let things fill in the blank, and how like Monique was doing all the flipping of Candace's hair. If we're in an argument, if we're beefing, don't flip my hair. Don't. I don't even have it. But like that was such an invasion of a space. Like we are arguing, and even if we're not arguing at one another, Monique's over there talking to Giselle, like low key screeching out her point. Candice is screeching out her point to Ashley. So we're sitting here screeching in the middle of this wine tasting barn. We're over here screeching at, and then like I don't know. People say Candice shouldn't have asked to be dragged. Because Candice say, drag me, Monique. Now, I personally am guilty of a good old whoop my behind, right? Now, when you say something like that, you got to follow up one or two ways. If you get your behind whooped, you got to take it like a champ and like move as you got your behind whooped because you asked for it, you know. Now, the second way is you wear the other person out, you know. You make it really hard. Even if you lost, you make it really hard for them to brag about that fight, you know. Because it's hard to brag about a fight if you got two black eyes. I'm just saying. So, Candice, knowing she didn't grow up in that lifestyle, Candice didn't even have a sister to fight with, you know. And she expressed earlier in the season, excuse me, earlier on in the season that she went to a predominantly white school. Not to say those schools don't have their fights, but they don't have as many fights as, especially private schools. I don't believe they have as many fights as public schools. Um, my high school, pretty good high school. My first 2 years, one of the neighborhood schools neighboring schools nearby shut down because of funding or something, and it funneled a lot of bad seeds into my school. So it went from like maybe one fight a year, hearing like, oh my God, you know, did you hear so and so fight? And that was like the talk of the semester. So like we couldn't even get to the bus loop without 5 or 6 fights going on. Like Candice, you didn't grow up in that lifestyle, so you probably have never even seen a fight to have a reference of what you're supposed to do in that moment. Monique, on the other hand, you know, dragged you pregnant and all. Her words, you know. I can only imagine someone who would say something like that. It's sunny where you are. I'm in Houston, tropical storm, but it's complete darkness. Really? It is. Don't let the sun fool you, you guys. It is. It is freezing here in Atlanta. Remove possible. Okay. It is freezing in Atlanta. It is 55 degrees out, and I know somewhere out there you guys are like, oh, that's warmer than it is here. Um, but for my Florida blood, uh, 86. 86 is about as cold as I can normally take it. Um, but yeah, this whole fight with Candice and Monique is juvenile. I hope they apologize. I hope they can move forward. I know Candice recently did a Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. Ah, oh my God. Okay, I ran it. I know Candice, excuse me, recently did a Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and she was feeling herself. And I definitely believe that's because she was feeling vindicated. Like, she's been telling us Monique has attacked her this whole for the longest, and I was very much so Team Monique when this all first started. I was like, you know, and I've always liked Candice, but I felt like, you know, how did Candice provoke Monique? I said, Candice must have did something out of control for Monique to act the way she acted. Only to find out that Candice has been the most civil person on this show so far in regards to the Monique issue. Like, and she's been trying to be civil. Now, I don't. She wasn't trying to be civil at the wine tasting. She said she made it to be a joke, but it was bubbling over at that time. She was ready to talk about it. Monique low key wanted to talk about it. it was really ridiculous to see two grown women talk to everybody around the table about the situation that they were in, then to each other. Maybe we might get a resolve later on in the season. Maybe we're not seeing everything. Um Anyways, you guys, I am here at work. This is my last week here. Got a new job. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to doing more of these. I look forward to having some more content up. Um, Thank you, Mr. Daryl Polk, Latanya, and the rest of you all who joined me on this ride to work. I am here now. I have 4 minutes until I got to be in there. So this is where I will bid thee adieu. I will see you guys all next time. Bye. Have a great day. And remember, I love you. Bye.